Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video I am doing a late update on my pits and peaks for the week. I was meant to do this yesterday, I just completely forgot. I was in just sort of a haze after my long run, so I didn't film it. And I didn't film last week either, which I'll sort of touch on when I start getting into my pits and peaks. If you are not familiar with this style of video on my channel, I talk about things that didn't go well for the week, being my pits for the week, and things that went better this week, being my peaks for the week. I'm not going to sort of recap a whole 2 weeks, I'll just talk about the important things, and then hopefully I can keep these videos up going forward. So we're going to talk about the pits first, so we can end on a high with the peaks, and I will get into my first pit. So my first pit for this week is that last Monday I had a general anaesthetic. That was sort of the reason why I didn't post any video the previous Sunday, because I was in quite a fluster with regards to having to be put under. I don't really like the hospital anyway, and I don't like needles and things like that, so it was all sort of a bit overwhelming, and that's the reason why I didn't film. Nothing to really worry about. I'm waiting on results at the moment from that, so it's a bit stressful sort of waiting for the results, but yeah, at least it's all over and done with in that respect. So yeah, that was that. Last week, I'm just reading my notes, so if I'm looking down it's because of that. Because of the general anaesthetic last week, that sort of pushed things out with regards to my training. Because I'd obviously had anaesthetic, I wasn't able to exercise for like 2 days, so it pushed my training out. The heat and stuff like that has been playing havoc with training as well, so yeah, things were just a bit out of whack last week. I have had some failed runs that I've been experiencing both last week and this week with regards to GI issues and needing the toilet. I will touch briefly on this in my sort of peaks later on, because there are things that I'm doing now to sort of try and figure out what's going on. But yeah, the failed runs have been a bit of a knock, especially because they are my long runs, they're the most important runs, and the fact that I am having issues surrounding those runs is quite disappointing. I'm not hitting my mileage targets. I was meant to hit 13 miles last week, I only did 11, and then I was meant to do 16 this week, and again I only managed 11. I will touch on more about the runs in my training update. I'm probably going to film after this, or maybe tomorrow, and get that out for sort of midweek. But yeah, that's not been great. I have been a bit of an idiot when it comes to my 75 medium challenge. I think I called it 75 medium. It has been going well in some respects. I'll touch on that in my peaks later, but I haven't been really keeping track of it anywhere, so it should have been that I created some sort of spreadsheet or some sort of like paper thing that I could tick off the actual daily challenges that I was doing, and sort of have a way to see which challenges I was on track with and which ones I wasn't. And I hadn't been doing that, so I sort of lost track. I wasn't sure whereabouts I was or what challenges I had achieved or not achieved. I have gone through now and sort of tried to mark off the challenges for each day that I have or haven't done, based on like conversations that I've had with other people. But I have created a proper spreadsheet now, so I will be able to keep proper track of that. But I will mention later on in my peaks with regards to like more information on that. The last pit for this week is that obviously if you are in the UK, you'll know that we had another heat wave, and it feels like it's just been like one after the other with no real break in the temperature, and it's just making me miserable. Sleep is crap. Obviously because we have indoor cats, we don't let them out, we can't open the windows and things like that in the house without the risk of them getting out. So yeah, we're kind of just stuck inside with fans and having the windows open on like night lock, or like having to monitor the windows at every opportunity. So it's not been great. The house is very, very hot. I've been suffering a lot, so yeah, I've just been very, very miserable with that. So I'm hoping that the temperature cools off. It was meant to be cooling off today, but it's been quite warm again today, so hopefully it will cool off towards the end of the week. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my pits, the biggest pits that I can think of. So I'll move on to the peaks next. The first peak is that, like I just mentioned about the heat, it is supposed to start raining this week. I don't know when the last time we saw rain was. It's been quite a while. The grass outside, the fields and everything are all yellow. I have hardly seen any green at all. So yeah, I am hoping that it cools off a bit, which it is meant to, and hopefully that will have a better sort of impact on my runs, because the heat is just playing havoc with my runs at the moment. So I'm hoping that the cooler weather sort of makes things a bit easier, so we'll have to see with that one, but I am looking forward to the cooler weather. The next one is that I guess this is the time to touch on my 75 challenge. Although I haven't been keeping track of the challenges that I've been doing, I do have a sort of awareness of where I'm at that day and where I am the next day. And when I have dropped the ball on certain challenges, for example, when I went to have my general anaesthetic, I wasn't able to drink for a majority of the day. So obviously I then had to start from day one the next day. But I do feel like there has been a sort of shift in that aspect. I did mention, when I initially mentioned my 75 challenge in my check-in, that the whole idea of me doing the 75 challenge was to be a bit stricter on getting the ball rolling again after you've dropped it. So if you have gone off track that day, you get immediately back on it the next day, rather than fussing about for a couple of days and then sort of getting back on it. I have been sticking to that, so if I've dropped the ball for any of the challenges and I have to start from day one, I do for the most part get back on track that day and a couple of days afterwards, and then I potentially drop the ball again. So I am getting back on things a lot quicker than I was before, because I'm a lot more conscious of the challenge. Now that I've got the spreadsheet as well, I have been a lot more focused on getting those things checked off every time when I go to fill it in at the end of the day. So yeah, that has made a big impact on having the spreadsheet there. The next one is related to what I was talking about earlier with the GI issues that I'm seeing during my long runs and things like that. I have decided that I am going to go gluten-free for a while and see whether that makes any difference. I feel like pasta and bread and things like that are one of the main components of my diet, I guess. A lot of the things that I eat have gluten in it, so I feel like that's one thing that I should try and cut out and see whether that makes any difference. Maybe I have a gluten intolerance, I'm not sure. So I'm going to try that for a couple of weeks. I think I'm going to try it for about 3 weeks. I have been doing it for the last 2 days. I've been gluten-free for the last 2 days. Obviously I don't expect to see any changes in 2 days, but I'm going to give it like a trial for about 3 weeks. If nothing seems to change, I will then swap to another thing, which I think is going to be dairy free. So I'll cut out dairy, because that's the next sort of biggest thing that I think that I consume a lot of. Obviously if I do 3 weeks of gluten free and nothing changes, and then do 3 weeks of dairy and nothing changes, I will then go to the doctors and be like, you know, I need help, what's going on? In the meantime, I am obviously tracking all of my food and things in my my NutriCheck, so I have that sort of record there if I have to go to the doctors. Hopefully, fingers crossed, either the gluten or the dairy fixes things. But if not, I've got the sort of record of my food in there to sort of go to them and be like, this is what I've been eating and I'm still having issues, like what's next? I do also have an app. I don't want to be too TMI about this, but I also downloaded an app on Sunday which allows me to track sort of bowel habits and when I go to the toilet, how frequently, things like that. So I do have that sort of correlation between my food and my bowel habits, so I can see whether there's anything that is triggering me needing the toilet on runs and things like that. So I'll keep you updated on that. Hopefully I can sort of figure out what the trigger is, so that I can cut that out and have no more issues. But yeah, like I said, I'll keep you updated on how that goes. And my last peak for this week is that I had the good news, the exciting news, that I have been chosen to be a Belega ambassador again this year. I was a Belega ambassador last year as well. If you are not familiar with who Belega are, they are a sock company. They originated in South Africa, and I just think their ethos is really good, and something that I sort of look for in companies. So yeah, I get to represent them again this year. I have been a fan of Belega for very many years, even before I was an ambassador. I wear them for daily use and for my running and any sort of exercise that I do, so I'm very happy to be supporting and representing them again this year. So that's really exciting. I don't apply for many ambassador programs unless it's a company that I sort of use all the time, products that I use all the time and things like that. I'm not sort of one of these people that just applies for anything to get the freebies. I do have to really sort of believe in the company and the product in order to be an ambassador for them. So I am already a existing ambassador for Boobidoo, and I'm an ambassador for Belega now. So they are two really exciting partnerships that I am looking forward to representing over the next coming year. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. I don't think there's anything else that I've got to mention, so I guess I'll end the video here before it gets too long. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can always click the notification bell down below and be notified of when my videos go live. If you want to leave me a comment, leave me a pit or a peak for how you've done this week. Other than that, hope you're all staying safe and well. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, weekend, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.